We have our Engaged Buddhism board here in the room, and it will also be in our newsletter and ongoing on the website. Resources that people can find if it is your proclivity or your heart's desire to engage. I can find the right words. I don't want to use the word political. To want to work with other people to engage with what's happening in the country and in the world. There will be resources there that you could find, and that's offered with a really open hand and open heart that each person's going to find their own way. So we've been studying the Sandokai, which is 8th century Chinese poem, which is the heart of the Soto Zen lineage, which is the lineage that we are in. What we're going to start doing next week, and I realized while we were sitting, maybe I'll tell a little story to make a link, and then maybe I'll do it again next week. Is I wanted to do the Sandokai because I knew that things might be difficult in the world. The Sandokai, as we've been saying, was written by Sekito in the 8th century because there were troubles between the different sects of Zen, and they were kind of not exactly warring, but they were in opposition to each other. And this poem was, Sekito was a very deep practitioner, and he wrote it to point to the heart of everything. There are no northern or southern ancestors, no this and no that. What is it that we're really doing here? Which is the harmony of difference and equality. Because there is difference, there is the particular, and we are so deeply interconnected and radically beyond this and that in our true essence and Buddha nature. And how do we live it? So I'll just tell a short story. So I thought, so what should we study next? What would be helpful and supportive in this time? I spent a lot of time, and we'll see. But what I came to is we're going to use the Metta Sutta, the Sutta of Loving Kindness, as the ground. And then we'll study the sutta a little, but I also want to bring forward teachings from different wise and compassionate people that I respect. Just a short story, because I've been fortunate enough to travel in Theravadan, Southeast Asian countries, and was in Sri Lanka. The monks there have a very revered place. And there was a dictator who was really doing horrible things. And they were right-wing monks. I mean, just the whole thing is you know, we're human beings. We just do this. And there were monks who the core practice was the Metta Sutta, the Loving Kindness Sutra. And they went into the streets at great risk to their own lives, chanting the Metta Sutta. I went down to San Francisco during it, and with Blanche Hartman and others, we did something similar in the streets of San Francisco. Something so powerful about embodying a teaching that isn't taking sides, this or that. It's just the fierceness and the tenderness of a commitment to love and to kindness. So that's why I think that came to me, and that's what we'll do for at least the next month, is explore this beautiful sutra together in the same way that we've been. And you can't hear? In the same way that we've been doing the Sandokai. And I'll talk a little louder. So this is the Sandokai. We have been following Suzuki Roshi's Branching Streams Flow in the Darkness Zen talks on the Sandokai, and this is the 12th talk. On Thursday, there's a little addendum at the end that I'll spend some time with. But let's see, maybe we should chant it. So can we put up a shared screen, and I'll just keep saying, this is a poem. Don't try to figure it out. I mean, we have been trying to figure it out a little bit, but mostly just be in the sound and the wash of it and the rhythm. Whoops, not quite. Share screen?
Yeah.
Oh, is it up there?
Mhm.
Oh, it's not on mine.
That's weird.
That's weird.
Hmm.
Well, as long as you guys
Folks at
have it.
home, can you see the Sandokai?
Can you see the Sandokai? No.
No,
No.
it's a web page.
Try it one more time.
How about now?
Yes, here it is.
All right.
Harmony of difference and equality. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately transmitted from west to east. While human faculties are sharp or dull, the way has no northern or southern ancestors. The spiritual source shines clear in the light, the branching streams flow on in the dark. Grasping at things is surely delusion, according with sameness is still not enlightenment. All the objects of the senses interact and yet do not. Interacting brings involvement, otherwise each keeps its place. Sights vary in quality and form, sounds differ as pleasing or harsh, refined and common speech come together in the dark. Clear and murky phrases are distinguished in the light. The four elements return to their natures, just as a child returns to its mother. Fire heats, wind moves, water wets, earth is solid, eye and sights, ear and sounds, nose and smells, tongue and tastes. Thus with each and everything, depending on these roots, the leaves spread forth, trunk and branches share the essence, revered in common, each has its speech. In the light there is darkness, but do not take it as darkness. In the dark there is light, but do not see it as light. Light and dark oppose one another, like the front and back foot in walking. Each of the myriad things has its merit expressed according to function and place. Phenomena exist, box and lid fit, principle responds, arrow points meet. Hearing the words, understand the meaning. Do not set up standards on your own. If you do not understand the way right before you, how will you know the path as you walk? Progress is not a matter of far or near, but if you are confused, mountains and rivers block your way. I respectfully urge you to study the mystery. Do not pass your days and nights in vain. So we're on the final lines of progress is not a matter of near or far, but if you are confused, mountains and rivers block the way. I humbly urge you, or I respectfully urge you who study the mystery, do not pass your days and nights in vain. Suzuki Roshi, the summary that was pulled forward was, do not waste your days and nights in vain. So we'll start with progress. Practice is not a matter of far or near. Where do you think you're going? Suzuki Roshi says, when you are involved in selfish practice, you have some idea of attainment or where we're going or whether we got there or not. or whether it's going well, or whether it's going bad. Does any of this seem familiar? But if you really practice our way, enlightenment, I would say awakening is always right here. There's no place to get to. It's right here. It never goes away. You couldn't lose it, even if you tried, which doesn't mean you can't feel lost. So idealistic practice, trying to attain some idea of perfection. Remember the line, don't set up standards on your own. I love that one. What are you comparing yourself to? Suzuki Roshi says, when we are sincerely involved in good practice, we should not dream of something impossible. We should work for something that is possible to realize. If you do not stay on this spot realizing your position, then you are not practicing our way. What I love about this simple practice is just this ground that you can keep coming back to. Ground that's groundless ground, that's backward step, that's just this breath. Just feel your feet on the ground. Just sit down, just stand up. Which to me is, maybe the monks in Sri Lanka probably say it differently, but I would say it's living by vow. Is what is it we're really doing here? And that becomes the anchor and the ground in the storm of this and that, and like it and don't like it. I got it, I don't got it. It's just this. You just come back. And everything you need is fundamentally right here. Even though you don't believe it, because you won't believe it. And we're going to keep doing what we keep doing, because that's what we human beings do. So there's a lot of tenderness and forgiveness. The Sandokai says, if you are confused, mountains and rivers block your way. If we are involved in dualistic thinking, if we're involved in setting one thing up against the other, it's again, we're just, I've been saying to people, my old auntie used to say, bless your little heart. And I've been finding myself saying that. Oh, I went out and did election canvassing and running into all kinds of different people, and in this kind of crazy time, including my own craziness, I find somebody in me just keeps saying, bless your little heart. We're so dear, and we're so sincere, and we're so confused, and we're so good. And we just want, I mean, we wouldn't be here if, and I really believe that of everybody, just some fundamental basic goodness of people want to be happy. It's just we're a little confused about how we're going at it. So if we are involved in dualistic thinking, you will be separated by difficulties as great as those of crossing mountains and rivers blocking your way. You just keep running into yourself. Karmic conditioning, thoughts. Kind of feels that way these days. And then I think, well, that must be how they on the other side felt for a long time. It's like, how do we get out of this maze? Like you just keep bumping into things. It's called suffering. I wrote here, I think this must be from Norman Fisher. It happens to us because we can't help it. We worry, we doubt ourselves. And when we find ourselves blocked, we just let the rushing water rush over us and let life come close. Okay. Just keep on going with our practice, and it will pass, and something new will arise. And I'm going to read you a little about Suzuki Roshi, is what he says. Suzuki Roshi had a life of great faith. You know, he went through World War II in Japan, and then just had a little family temple. He wasn't a big, important person. He just, I think, always had this dream about coming to America. And he just came. And I think of him all the time. He just, I mean, often a Japanese congregation brought him over. And then these hippies just started showing up. So of course there was tension there again of the Japanese, like who were these Western hippies, and the Western hippies of who was this traditional church. And Suzuki Roshi just said, I'm just going to be here sitting every morning, and you can just come and join me if you want. It was an act of great faith. And he said he really didn't, I mean, of course he probably cared how many people showed up, but fundamentally he didn't care. He just studied, and he'd show up and he'd sit and he started giving talks. And Zen Mind Beginner's Mind, actually, these are just stories of great faith to me, is it was mostly, I think, older women that he went and gave little talks to on a weekday morning. And Trudy Dixon transcribed his talks, and it turned into Zen Mind Beginner's Mind, which is one of the best-selling books in the whole Buddhist world. So it's like, we don't know anything, but we sure want to. He says, I don't want to live up in the air. I want to be right here. I want to stand on my feet. The only way to stand on my feet when I am at Tassajara, which is where he was, is to sit. That is the reason I am here. To stand on my feet and to sit on my black cushion are the most important things for me. I don't trust anything but my feet and my black cushion. They are my friends always. My feet are always my friends. When I am in bed, my bed is my friend. There's no Buddha, no Buddhism, no Zazen. If you ask me what is Zazen, my answer will be to sit on my black cushion or to walk with my feet. Very simple. Nothing complicated here. To stay at this moment in this place is my Zazen. To stay at this moment in this place is my Zazen. There is no other Zazen. When I am really standing on my feet, I am not lost. For me, that is nirvana. There is no need to travel, to cross mountains or rivers. I am right here in the Dharma world, so I have no difficulty crossing mountains and rivers. That's how we don't waste time. Moment after moment, we should live right here without sacrificing this moment for the future. He's so clear. You can just feel the depth of his practice and his devotion. It's just this. And I have no doubt that that everything that he's telling us with such great faith and such certainty came out of just a lifetime of practice and of just saying yes, just each moment, just yes, here I am. I respectfully urge you who study the mystery Do not pass your days and nights in vain. I don't think we'd be here. Well, I don't know why you're here. I don't even know why I'm here, but I think it does have something to do with the mystery of birth and death and what are we doing and why are we doing it and what's this life about anyway. Not to mention, it would be nice to be a little happier, a little more settled, a little more open, a little more kind. The longer I live, this feeling of what is this life? Like, what is time and space? And who are we anyway? And what is this thing that's happening in the world that we thought couldn't happen? And now it's happening, but what is happening? And what's the appropriate response? So we're each born into a body. We're born into a lifetime. We wander around. Somehow we wander into this tradition or that tradition or into a bar or who knows where we wander. But some of us sit down and then we keep coming back and we keep sitting down. And maybe we chant the Sandokai or the Metta Sutta or whatever our practice is that helps stabilize us, ground us. But I think there's a commitment that arises that's always been there. You do not pass your days and nights in vain. Do not pass your days and nights in vain. We have each taken up the practice of being a true human being. Of just being a human being here along with all other human beings. So let me read you a little of what Suzuki Roshi says here. Vowing. The vow to be a true human being, the vow to take up the bodhisattva vow, the vow to see all the way through this life, this mystery. He says it doesn't make any sense, but still we do it. Why? Because we don't feel so good if we don't work for others, if we're not doing something to be with other people. He says you don't give up. You don't have to give yourself up. And then he says you have to suffer and fight more with yourself. And there's no one to fight with and nothing to fight. There's no one to fight with and nothing to fight with. Fight with your selfish practice until you give up. That is the most important point. That's what a true human being, that's how we become true human beings. It says, I'm so happy that I have irresistible desires and that there's just endless in vowing. There's endless beings to save and to be saved by. And you just keep saying yes. And that, from the point of view of the Sandokai, is exactly the pointless point, which is arrow points meet and box and lid fit. is that it's just, this moment is completely perfect. This moment is a complete expression of 100,000 million causes and conditions that brought us to this moment, and we have everything we need. And bumping into mountains and wading across streams and getting wet and falling down and getting up is all a part of it. You can't skip it. But there is some deep trust and faith. That there's something going on here more than we think. And it's just this. And so we just keep going and we just keep helping each. Kind of like the monks in Sri Lanka somehow came to me today, and their courage of walking through the streets together, chanting the loving kindness sutra, which makes no cultural sense in my culture, completely inspires me. And I don't know what that means for me, or I don't know what that means for our culture or in the world, but that's how bodhisattvas and true human beings help each other, is we just keep saying yes and reaching in the dark. So that's the Sandokai, or very humble rendering. Don't waste time. Keep on with your practice. Never, ever give up. And it's impossible to give up because the world won't leave you alone. And there's no place to hide or run to, even if you think you have, because the world will just keep warm hand to warm hand saying, hi, how you doing? And you'll find some response to come back. So how about if we get in small groups? If you have a copy of the Sandokai here, maybe there's something in the Sandokai that if you've been here that has been turning in you. Or maybe for those of you on screen, if you have it, or maybe you haven't been here that long, or wherever you want to jump in. I respectfully urge you who study the mystery. I respectfully urge you, those of you who are alive, which we all look to be pretty alive, don't pass your days and nights in vain. What's your practice right now? Are you practicing? How's it going for you? What's the root at the center of it that you keep coming back to? Something like that, or anything else that you want to talk about. How's that sound? Okay.
And I just dropped a copy of the chant book in the chat, so if you don't have it, you can just open it up there.
Okay. Okay, nobody here is a smart Buddhist. I mean, you can be if you want to be, but there's no right answers here. Just be a human being and just share your life and your